Hey everyone, today I'm going to be using Bolt and Supabase to create a full stack web application that has user login, email verification, and of course database operations in Supabase. We're going to do this in 3 main prompts and all on the free plan with Bolt. So let's do this. So just a quick overview of the tutorial today. We're first going to go over the mockup, then the Supabase setup, then we're going to tell Bolt to create our UI, and then we're going to add the login, logout functionality as well as the email verification and add our CRUD operations for our data in our application. In full transparency, this is not the first time that I'm making this video. I've tried to make it a bunch of times, but each time Bolt ran into issues and Bolt could not fix those issues itself. And when that happens, I run out of tokens for the day. So it's a new day. I have a fresh set of tokens. I've learned a lot by experimenting with Bolt in the past week, trying to refine my prompts. So make sure you stay till the end of the video because I'll have a lot of lessons and tips that I've learned sprinkled throughout. So let's get into our UI mockup. So the application that we're going to be building today is a running personal record tracker. I'm a runner, and us runners, we love our data and we love to keep track of when we ran a certain distance the fastest time. And that is pretty much a personal record. So we have a few components to our application. First, we're going to have the ability to upload a profile picture. Then we're going to have basic user information. And then finally, we're going to keep track of our personal records. These are a few of the common running distances. I apologize that my metrics are in miles and in kilometers. Here in the US, we use both for different distances. So just wanted to point that out there. And of course, we're going to have the ability to save our data. So this is just a rough mock-up and I add a bit more details in our prompt, but let us get to setting up our project in Supabase. So in Supabase, go ahead and click on New Project. If you don't have an organization already, go ahead and create one. And then we're going to call our app run PR tracker Bolt. Let's generate a password, copy, save the password in a safe place. And I'm going to choose East Coast because I'm on the East Coast. And then let's click create new project. So Supabase is going to take a minute or two to create and initialize your project. As you can see here, it says setting up project. So let's go back to our prompts right over here. So this is our very first prompt and it might look like a lot, but let's break it down. So the first thing I'm telling Bolt is let's do this in a step-by-step manner. First, let's create the UI, and then with my consent, let's move on to the Supabase functionality. Sure, you can let Bolt go ahead and do everything and kind of dictate what's next, but I found I run into less errors when I kind of control when we move on to the next main step. For this next line over here, I've experienced Bolt trying to import things that don't even exist in certain UI icon libraries. I don't have the time or tokens to waste on silly little icon issues, so I'm just telling Bolt, let's not even use any icons at all. In the future, of course, when we have more tokens, we can always add icons and other cool UI functionality. The second part of this prompt is my project overview, and I have an entire video about what a project overview is and why I recommend you use one. I'll link it up here or in the description below. So for our project, over here I have the app name, and then we have our tech stack. I did want to go over something in the tech stack, so over here I have shadcn as my UI component library. I've encountered Bolt running into issues with this. Again, trying to import things from shadcn that end up breaking the application. And I also read in a comment on YouTube that Bolt can choose the UI component library that it best thinks is right for your application. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this, and we're going to let Bolt choose the UI library that it wants to. Over here for the main features, this is pretty much your project requirements. Most of the things here are in our mockup. We do have a time field, a location field, and a date field that are not in the mockup. So this is just to test Bolt if it's really reading my requirements, and we'll see if it adds these 3 fields to the mockup. These are pretty much standard things that I copy and paste for small web applications. Of course, you can always add or remove anything to your liking with the project overview, and that's the beauty of it. And once we have all this set up, all we have to do is just copy everything and then we paste it into Bolt. But before we do that, let's go over to Supabase, and as you can see, our project has been set up. So we're here in the home page of Supabase. If you scroll down to Project API, we're going to need this information later, so make sure to just keep that in mind right now. So over here in Bolt, I did want to mention they have this new feature called Diffs. Definitely enable it if you can. I cannot because I'm on the free plan, but pretty much Bolt will use a diff-based approach to editing. Before they would rewrite the entire file if they want to make changes to it. But now if your change requires just a few lines of code, it'll change those few lines of code as opposed to rewriting the entire file. So that will definitely save you some tokens. Speaking of tokens, I have Wow, I have 150,000 for today. Yeah, there was a special going on for Thanksgiving where you had 200,000. So I have even less tokens today. Let's try to stay within the limit. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy our prompt, paste it into Bolt, taking a screenshot of our mockup, and also going to paste that in here. And we are going to let Bolt do its thing. All right, so Bolt just finished our UI mockup. We have a running personal record tracker, title up here, ability to upload a photo, name, location, and bio. It's keeping track of the characters. Pretty cool there. Then we have our personal records, 1 mile, 5K, 10K, half marathon. We have the location and a date picker. So Bolt did take my mockup. It did look at the requirements. It included all the fields that I indicated in the requirements, and we have a save records button as well. Bolt pretty much nailed it. All right, good job, Bolt. Thank you, thank you. So just curious how many tokens that took. It took about 28,000 tokens to do all of that. Let's go back to our prompts, and we're going to move on to our second prompt. So there's kind of a lot going on here, but it's all related to the user login and logout flow. We're going to be doing a lot of back-end stuff here. So first I'm saying add a logout button if we don't have one yet, which we do not. Here we are creating our tables and giving Bolt the fields that we want to see inside of our tables. If you're not technical or haven't worked with database before, you can use Claude or ChatGPT to help you over here. I found that if I didn't provide the tables and some of the fields that I wanted, Bolt is hit or miss with database schema generation. So just to prevent a future error, I gave the names of the tables I want and some of the fields that I expect to see inside of the tables. Over here in database setup, I've run into issues before where Bolt is pretty irresponsible with how it handles the user IDs. When you're inserting into a new table or retrieving data from a table, you usually have to deal with a user ID. And Bolt sometimes just doesn't even use a user ID. And the user ID many times was null because of not loading it correctly or not retrieving it correctly. So here I'm just being very, very explicit in telling Bolt to handle the IDs correctly so that we can smoothly access the data in our application. Over here for data access policies, I'm pretty much saying that our users should have full create, read, update, and delete permissions to their own data, to their profiles, and to their personal records tables. Over here we have login, logout functionality. This is pretty much me thinking about the flows that the user is going to take from signing in to getting into the application and signing back out. So make sure to keep the user in mind and try to be as detailed as possible when providing your prompt. And down here for the Supabase information, so we're going to copy the project URL, paste it over here, copy the API key, paste it over here. And if you don't provide this information to Bolt, Bolt will ask you for it. So it's good to just give the project URL and public key before it even asks. I again have my statement about external libraries. Don't import anything that's going to cause issues, because even though I've said it in the first prompt, sometimes Bolt ignores that and still imports things that causes issues. Here I'm asking Bolt to provide me with the SQL commands, which I'm going to use to create the tables and policies in the database. And finally, we have display detailed error messages, including file location and stack trace when possible. Bolt does a pretty good job of displaying the error messages, but doesn't hurt to say, hey, give me more details if an error occurs. All right, so let's go ahead and copy all of this. Go back to Bolt and paste it. I'm going to go ahead and click enter. So Bolt is creating schema.sql that will contain all of our commands to run in Supabase. All right, so Bolt finished. I've set up the authentication flow and database schema. So it gave us some commands for the SQL, added login signup page, security, copied the SQL commands, enable auth provider in Supabase, configure email templates. Okay. All right, so let's see our UI. Everything's still intact. Yes, save. Does not look like we have a logout button, everyone. So Bolt did not listen to my prompt entirely. I said create a logout button if we don't have one. That's one thing we have to fix. Before I forget, I'm going to say please add a logout button that will bring us to the login create account page. All right, so that's that. So let's go get our SQL and copy this all here. Let's go back into Supabase. A home table editor, SQL editor is what we need, and paste. Let's go ahead and click run. Success, no rows return. So perfect. Everything executed perfectly. We have a profiles table. You know what? It's much easier to view this in the schema visualizer. So if you go to database, we have a pretty cool visualization tool here. The profiles table has name, location, bio, avatar. Perfect. We have a foreign key to the auth user's ID table. Personal records has distance, time, race, location, date achieved, user ID with a foreign key to the auth user's ID table. So good job on generating the schema or the tables for our database Bolt. Let's go check our policies over here. Personal records has create, read, update, delete functionality. Profiles has create, read, update, not delete, but that's okay. We don't need to work with deleting our profiles for this demo. So policies look good. So we're over here in the authentication section. Let's go ahead and go to providers. This email section over here, in order for email verification to work, we need to have confirm email enabled. So make sure this is enabled. If it is, then once you create an account, we're going to get an email from Supabase to create to verify our account. Down here in email templates, this is actually the template for the email that's going to come from Supabase. So you can change it as you please. As you can see, we're going to get a URL that we're going to click and use to verify our account. So over here in the table editor, you can see we have our personal records table and our profiles table, which are both empty. Let's go back to our prompts. So we're done with the second prompt over here. We have just verified our policies, which look good. Moving on to the third prompt. All right, so let's do a check on our tokens. So we've used 65,367 tokens. I'm pretty happy with our token usage so far. We're going to move on to the third prompt along with asking it to add a logout button. So let's go ahead and copy our prompt over here. So far we have our UI and we have our database. We need to create some more code in the middle in order for us to actually query our database back and forth. So over here, I'm saying, let's implement saving the data to our profile and personal records table. Add save functionality to store profile and personal record data. Ensure saving works for both new and existing users, and verify that the auth user ID is available before saving to the table. This is again where I've run into a lot of issues in the past where Bolt just did not have the user ID at hand when trying to save, and therefore running into issues. User not found, user ID null. So hopefully Bolt listens to this field over here. You know what? I'm going to actually say here, very important in caps. So then I'm saying maintain all existing functionality. Over here, I'm saying to Bolt, I've already ran the SQL commands you gave me, so don't give me those SQL commands again. So many times before in this step, Bolt gives me the SQL again to run, and therefore wasting a lot of tokens. So I'm just saying, don't give me any more SQL if it's not necessary. And finally, asking Bolt over here to give me more information when dealing with errors. So let's go ahead and copy this, go into Bolt. I'm going to use number 2 here, and that should be good. Let's click enter. All right, so Bolt is done. It added a navbar component, created types for profile and personal record, updated main page to fetch and display data. Okay, so let's see if we're able to log out with the logout button. All right, cool. So if I have a login, entering my email here, trying to log in, which I don't have an account yet, it is loading. Should say user not found or something. Interesting. It's saying loading on both buttons. Is it stuck? Okay, that took a while. Invalid login credentials. So perfect. Let's click on sign up. Please check your email for a verification link. So over here, we did get an email from Supabase. Let's go ahead and click this. So one thing to note over here, this site can't be reached. This is because our URL was leading back to localhost. I'm not actually developing on my physical machine with a local host. Remember, we're on a localhost port, yes, but we are within Bolt's contained environment. So although we cannot be redirected to localhost, the email verification should have worked. And when this application gets deployed, you can always change the redirect URL, which should work in production. So let's go into Supabase and refresh the page. So in our auth schema, there should be a users table, which you can see over here. So we have email sent at over here. We have email confirmed at. And as you can see, our account has been set up and verified in Supabase. So going back to Bolt, just refresh this over here. So it refreshed and went into the application. Just want to click log out and just test the account again. Testing if we can log in. So log in, log out looks great. Let us see if we can save some data. So I'm going to click I'm going to type my name and love running and beer. So first, let's see if we can save our profile data. Moment of truth. Save. Data saved successfully. So that's a good sign. Let's see if it actually saved. Click refresh in Supabase. Let's go to our public schema, not publics, public profiles. Profile is here. My information is saved. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've gotten that on the first try. I think we're going to be able to finish this today, guys. Woo! All right, an avatar URL is there. Let's not mess with that yet. Personal records. All right, nothing there. Let's try personal records now. Okay, back here in the UI, personal records. Let's do, okay, we have an issue here. I typed 0 and it just like put all zeros in this field over here. Okay, so all right, I can type there. I can do date picker, but our fields in personal records just gives me 0. 04, I'm gonna click 505. Okay, so interesting. This doesn't work, but let's see, let's see if it saves. So I'm just going to test and click a date. So our input fields on the distance is messed up. Let us just save and see what happens. Saving. It's thinking. Come on, Bolt. You can do this. I'm so nervous. It saved. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see the database. Refresh, personal records. Wow, it saved it, everyone. As I've mentioned, I've tried to do this video so many times, and I've never gotten data saving functionality on the first try. I've always run into issues, and I've always had to debug it myself, so I'm very, very happy right now. Looks like we have our times all saved here. I had entered 2 dates on the UI, 2 locations, right? 2 locations, 2 dates. So, database works. Can I upload a photo? Okay, let's see if I can upload a photo. Save. Data saved. All right. Interesting, everyone. So I'm in the personal records table. I had just saved, right? And I think it just did a duplicate save of all the rows. So you see 10K, 1 mile. See, it saved a new row for each of our fields, which that is not ideal. I wanted to just override the data in the fields. So okay, let me try this again. This might be something we need to fix. So if I do location, right, for the 1 mile, and just do location 1 mile. So ideally, when saving, the 1 mile row should just get overridden with the data. But as we're going to see in a second, it's just going to create an entirely different row for it. So refresh. Yeah. See, I have a new 1 mile entry inserted. So you see we have 3 1 mile entries inserted. Each distance is generating a new row. So that is not ideal. I'd want it to update. I'd want the data to override. I wanted to check if my avatar was updated, and it wasn't. So this is something, again, that I can tell Bolt to fix in the future. But before we get to telling Bolt what to do next, we want to see if we can read the data from the database. So of course, there's saving the data. Now let's see if we can read the data. So I'm going to go ahead and log out. So I'm going to click login, and we should see our data from the database. So Jeremy, Fort Lauderdale, love running and beer. We have our 1 mile test. All right, so looks like we can read the data. Perfect. So we can save, we can read. Now let's just do a few more tweaks so that we can refine the UI experience. Token check. How many tokens do we have? We're less than 100,000 tokens. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm ecstatic that I haven't had to fix any issues with the saving and reading from the database. I think our detailed prompts really worked. So let's go ahead and say number 1, most important thing is personal record input fields don't work when typing something. It always shows 00000 X being a number you typed. Please fix so we can fully edit this field values. Okay, everything else worked. This all worked. While we're at it, let's go ahead and talk about the avatar URL over here. To upload, saving to profiles.avatar URL doesn't work. I can upload a photo in the UI, but upon saving, a link to the photo doesn't actually get saved to Supabase. All right, and number three, I think the third thing we noticed was, should I tell Bolt to fix the database? I think I should. This is gonna bother me. Let us screenshot the personal records table, and I'm gonna paste it here. When saving personal to personal records, new DB entries are created upon each save. Let's upon subsequent saves to the same distance, let's just update the row, right? That's how it should be. That's how I want it to be, at least. Yeah. As you can see in this screenshot, we have, i.e., 3 rows for each distance. We should just have 1 row for each distance that has been updated each time I've saved. So going back in here, created at, updated at, yeah. So what should happen each time is we update a distance with any of the data, and then the updated at timestamp would just be updated instead of creating an entirely different row. So that should be a pretty easy fix for Bolt. Let's go ahead and do that. If Bolt can do these 3 things, I'm going to be very happy. Okay, so Bolt fixed the time input, fixed the avatar URL saving, prevented duplicate records. All right, so this is exciting, everyone. Let's do this. Let us do this one more time. I don't have any data here, which is, I don't know if that's an error. Let's go ahead and log out. So before I hit log out there, the data rendered. So I think it just took a while for the data to show. Okay, so let's log in. Login works. Yep, all my data is here. Let's upload a photo. Uploaded a photo, love running and beer, and when my code works. So changing that. Personal records, here we go. So, no, it doesn't work. Come on, Bolt. I still can't edit personal records. See? Oh my. Yeah, no. Okay, wait, I can kind of update it. Okay, so if I do 0, 0. Oh, okay. Interesting. 0. When I click 0, it does 2 zeros. When I click do 2, 02. So it doesn't work. It does not work. It's like I click 3, it does 0, 3. If I do 5, 05, 6, 06. So it doesn't allow me to enter these numbers correctly, which sucks. But let's see if we can at least save the avatar, and let's see if our records are being inserted correctly. Save. Bucket not found. All right, so that bucket is an issue with saving the avatar. So let's go to code. Let's go into Supabase, and avatar URL did not save. Personal records still is, nothing changed here, right? So let me go ahead again. 1 mile, let's say 1 mile v2, just to see if anything in personal records changes. So nothing changed in personal records, so I think it's running into an issue with the query and not executing any of our commands. So bucket not found. So I have 131,000 tokens left. This is probably my last prompt, everyone. So we want to be smart. We want to be very smart with how we address these issues. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do our own debugging, just so that we can provide Bolt with a bit more information on how to fix things. So let's open our application StackBlitz up here, top right corner. So over here in StackBlitz, it's going to generate the UI on the right side. StackBlitz is pretty much an in-browser IDE with a few more features than the Bolt interface. Over here in the top right corner, we're going to click on Open Preview in a new tab, and we're basically going to inspect what's going on. So if you've never seen the inspector pane before, or the inspect section on Google Chrome, just follow along. I'll try to explain things as best as I can. So if you right click on an element in the page or do Command Option I, then we're going to get some tools over here, which we're going to look at the network, and then the console is pretty much going to tell us if we have any errors, console errors. So I've just logged in. I'm going to go ahead and change 1 mile to like 1 mile v2, just to see if we can get a personal record change. Love running a beer and when code works. So let's clear the console over here. I'm going to click save records, and we're going to see what happens. All right, so see, we've got some errors over here. So save records was clicked. We have 3 errors. So this one, let's go by them one by one. Looks like, interesting. So over here, if you click on the error over here, you're going to see it's making a request. It's making a get request for the 1 mile. So for each distance, it's doing a get request, which I would think ideally it would use one GET request for all of the data under personal records. So that's another thing that Bolt didn't do optimally. But let's roll with it. So with the 1 mile, it's trying to do a GET request to get the data. It's doing a select on the user ID when the distance is 1 mile. Preview. Okay. All right. So response code. The result contains 3 rows. JSON object requested. Multiple or no rows. Yeah. So I think the issue here is it's returning 3 rows when we should just return 1 row. This is a result of initially Bolt saving 3 rows to the database for one of the distances. And remember, we fixed that. Same thing is happening for 5K, 10K, and each field. So let's address this first. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to go into our personal records table. We're going to delete all the rows. So we've just deleted all the rows in the personal records table. Let's log back in, clear the console. Okay, so we're logging in, fresh personal records table, no data in it. And we are going to just do 1 mile and test, right? And that's a long mile. And let's do full marathon here. That's a quick marathon. Location, test, marathon, and do a date. So it should save the marathon data and it should save 1 mile data. Clear the console. Let's see what happens when I click save. Okay, see, there is an error here. Well, let's check Supabase. Did it actually save? And it did save, which is good. And if we change like test 2, test 3, test marathon 3, save again, then no errors occur. Okay, I see. So the patch is this is a post. It's not a post, it's a patch. And I guess this is what's actually saving the data. So it is saving the data through an API call to Supabase. So that's what's going on there. There was that issue with the GET, but I think that's a minor issue which we don't need to fix for this demo, because clearly saving and reading from Supabase works. I do want to see how many tokens I have left. That's right. So we have pretty much one more prompt. And it says bucket not found. So the only issue that we have left is we cannot save our profile photo, right? So, all right. So just want to see what works. Test, save, user, data. Just want to see it saving the bio. So profiles. Okay. So this profiles request over here. See, this is a post and it's saved test saving user data. But it is not including the URL of my photo. Oh, I didn't include a photo. Okay, so let's go. So let's test upload picture. So I've uploaded my photo and nothing happens over here in the console or network. So let's go ahead and click save. Perfect, so we got something. So this is a post request that errored out. Payload, preview. Okay, so this is bucket not found, which is what it says on the UI of Bolt. We're gonna go ahead and just copy this post request. You know what? We're going to screenshot this first and say 1 bucket not found when trying to save avatar. See screenshot from console. Post 400 bad request. Post 400 bad request. And what else can we give? We'll just go to copying this over here. So I'm going to say, please fix how we're storing the avatar photo in Supabase. Let me know if you need any information from me. Important, please do not break anything else. Yes, number two, our input fields still don't work. Input fields still don't work. I can't freely type numbers. It just freely, correctly type in numbers. Please let me be allowed to type freely. Just have the placeholder remain the same and let the field be editable easily. And finally, 3, please don't break anything else because we're so close. Enter. Last prompt, guys. Last prompt. Let's do this. All right, everyone. So unfortunately, I have run out of tokens for today. And let's refresh our application. Bolt, what's going on? Did you break? We're so close. Please tell me you're just taking a long time to load. Did Bolt just see this? That's what I thought. it like chopped off a bunch of my code. What happened there? See, yeah, so that's what happened. So for some reason, Bolt just deleted a bunch of code. Yeah, deleted. I'm dumb to not have caught that earlier. And I can't go back, right? There's no file revision. You know what? I'm gonna try one more thing. I'm gonna exit StackBits. I'm gonna exit the app. I'm going to refresh this entire page. Maybe Bolt will bring back my page.tsx. If not, I think this demo is done. And if it doesn't load, okay, yeah, it doesn't load. Does it load? No. So if you go to code, our page TSX, yeah. So everyone, I think we're done here with this demo. Everything pretty much worked that I wanted to work today. We had email verification working along with login and logout. We were able to save to our database. We were able to read from our database. I would say saving the avatar URL was a nice to have. So although we ran out of tokens and we didn't get to actually save the URL and started running into these issues along with Bolt deleting half of my page TSX, which is frustrating. The main thing that really helped me today was, again, refining my prompts. So, you know, if there's any takeaway for this is that try to be as detailed as you can in your prompts. We did all of this in pretty much 3 main prompts. Feel free to pause the video and use my prompts as a reference for your own applications. I spent a lot of time with Bolt already. I'm not sure if I'm going to use Bolt personally going forward. I've had much more success using Cursor, so I'm going to be using Cursor moving forward instead of Bolt. But if you want more content like this on Bolt or any other AI tools, feel free to let me know. Like this video, subscribe if you're not already, and happy coding. Peace. All right, everybody. So I see where Bolt messed things up over here when I asked Bolt to fix the bucket not found error, and I asked it to fix our input fields. I'm going to play the video, the Loom video, and you're going to see it generates the page.tsx with those placeholders saying code here, imports here. So I think what happened is Bolt had a glitch where it knew what changes to make, but it actually updated my file with what Bolt was thinking it was supposed to do. Leave these alone, fix these, instead of just rewriting the file completely. So Bolt, I think that's a issue. That's a bug, right? Okay, so look, it's building. See, it's updating the time input, which we didn't get the input field to work, but it's okay because all the other fields worked, saving and reading. See right here, pause. It's rewriting page TSX, and it's commenting previous imports remain the same, where it should have the import statements there. Previous state and other code remains the same. Has anyone else run into this? Comment down below. And there you go. The application is broken. And I didn't realize that, and I spent some time debugging it. So again, we pretty much got all of our goals for this demo completed. Login, logout, email verification, database reading, database saving. All the input fields worked except for the inputting the time. That usually should be a quick and easy fix. But the good thing is all the other fields were able to be editable and savable. We didn't get the avatar to work, but that's okay. Usually that's an easy fix too. I ran out of tokens doing this all on the free plan. So again, hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you all learned something, and happy coding. See you all in the next one. Peace.